We've got Ayrshire College, University of Dundee, Forth Valley College and QA apprenticeships. So the hard job's been done. I must apologise. So we'll talk about perceptions and misconceptions. The gentleman here with the hat on, I asked him earlier as he was sat at the front, hey dude, are you with the AV team? And he looked at me and went, and he was very polite. He went, no thanks, Grandpa, I'm not. So, so that engagement, and I'm really sorry, but that engagement, that in single instance there, how do we get people, how do we make relevant statements in places and spaces? We see that it's happening, how do we create more of that? So we're going to move on to the next session now, which is encouraging females to study digital technologies and related courses. And you've seen the panel. This is the easy bit now. The first lot are up. You guys are just going to flow with this so easily just now. And Jackie, could you start us off, please?
Yeah, I'll start, thanks. First of all, apologies, I'm recovering from the flu, so my voice is a wee bit struggling here today, but hopefully I'll get through it. I'm in Ayrshire College and we're very keen. We've run a lot of computing courses at the college, but we still struggle to get young women to come into our courses, so we can spend a lot of time thinking about how we do that. So I think the key things for us is how do we get them in, how do we keep them in, and then how do we use young women and young men in our courses to try and get more and keep that cycle going. So the key thing this morning I think we've heard so far is what we do with young people in schools. And the college is really involved with it. In fact, some of the local authorities in Ayrshire here today work really closely with the local authorities in schools to try and stimulate interest across the local authorities. I don't think all the local authorities in Ayrshire have the same expertise as some of the computing teachers we heard earlier, and which is a fantastic resource and great to hear that enthusiasm. So we work closely with those schools and those local authorities to try and tap into the expertise that we have. So we've taken about 1,000 young people from primary age right through to secondary age through coding clubs over the past 2 years. And these have been done in school, primary and secondary, but they've also been done in cultural locations as well as in the college as well, just to try and keep that interest going amongst primary kids. When they come into secondary, our strategy there is changing. So for example, somebody mentioned smart STEMs earlier on there, and I'm delighted that next month we'll be working with smart STEMs aimed at first and second year girls, bringing the industry down to the college and doing some real interactive activity there to try and make sure that interest coming through from primary sustains in early years of secondary. We've just agreed with developing a young workforce group in Ayrshire, delivery of an Apps for Good project across Ayrshire, so we will be working with 3 schools across Ayrshire, with teachers and the young people, with one of our staff as well, delivering that Apps for Good programme. So I'm delighted to hear our colleague from Mike saying how successful it's been, and that's what we hope to be the case in Ayrshire. And then for older young people at secondary school, we're offering the Foundation Apprenticeship in software development this year. So that would take that interest that's been generated through the school sector into a specific qualification where you do have work experience and part of your time working in college delivering a particular programme aimed at computing. So for us, that's the flow that we try and we'll get more girls and more young men into our computing courses at college, because we can do other things and we are doing other things, like trying to make sure that our description of our courses is better. We're going to completely radicalise how we describe computing courses on our website, because it's really, if you go onto our website, it will be very similar to the way that computing courses are described anywhere else, and really probably won't inspire the majority of young people we have to get to, male and female. So we're going to do a radical job in doing that. We've done a huge exercise making sure that the images we present of computing, of STEM in general, are gender balanced and relevant to the different audiences that we have. And it's really just taken through that through to its logical conclusion. And then finally, once we've got them into the college, the key thing is how do you get these young people working with other young people who are not yet in the college. So last year we introduced a programme of STEM ambassadors in the college, where our higher national students, our HMC and our HMD students were all offered the opportunity to become a STEM ambassador. And those young people go out to the schools and work with school people. So we have 41 school-time students who are STEM ambassadors, male and female, who go out to schools to try and encourage other young people to be interested in STEM. And as part of their training, as we get to school, we don't want those young students to be reinforcing gender stereotypes or assumptions about computing. So part of their training is about unconscious bias, it's about gender, it's about all the issues around that, it's about careers and computing and so on. And that's had a really big take-up of students and particularly in the computing area. So we're really hopeful that by using our students, and that's part of their learning experience, because they're learning and it's reinforcing the learning in their courses as they work with young people in schools. So we're trying to have a kind of overall strategic approach about helping our partners who are working in the local authorities to support them with young people in schools, and in college do what we can to make our courses more relevant, more current, more dynamic, and more related to the jobs that are actually out there in their own industries. I think that's a big challenge that we all have, is we have to make it relevant, current, and relatable to young people. And I think at the moment, as an industry, we're not really making a huge amount of progress on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Alison.
Hi, so I'm Alison Pease from the University of Dundee. I'm a lecturer in computing up there. And one of the things that we try to do is to normalise the notion of females in computing by ensuring that they're represented properly in the curriculum. So I think that this has the effect of embedding females into the history, the culture, the fabric of the subject. So female students feel that they belong in the subject, they have a place, they have a set of role models, and so on. So there's three aspects that I wanted to talk about, ways in which we try to do that. So the first is actually talking about pioneering people who have contributed to the history of the subject. So I taught a module on logic and computer science this last semester, and I talked about Ada Lovelace and Grace Hopper. There are plenty of other females that I could have talked about as well. There's an interesting Wikipedia article which I just noticed this morning on women in computing. It's literally just called Women in Computing, and that's really a really useful resource for finding female pioneers in different computing areas, as computer security, theoretical computer science, video games, across the whole spectrum of computing. There are key female figures there. There's 65 on that list, but that's just a start, obviously. So it's always possible to find pioneering figures that we can talk about to talk about the contribution that they made to the subject, rather than saying this was the first female to get a PhD in computer science, or highlighting that, but just talk about it as a normal thing in the same way as we talk about any other ideas or people in the field. The second thing is the reading list. So I also taught a module on research methods, which had a weekly reading seminar, so it's easy to find papers with female authors on that, but just to make sure that I am doing that. So that's one consideration when I'm picking the papers, is to make sure that females are represented in that aspect. And also we do see there the students, the unconscious bias comes through in the students when they refer to he as the author, so to pick up on any instances that you hear of that, to correct them. And the third thing is computing in industry. So I taught another module on web authoring, and we had a speaker from industry come in. So if possible, we'd be looking for female speakers. Again, not to highlight the fact that this is a female in computing, but just here is someone from industry. They're going to come in and inspire you and tell you what it's like to actually work in this job, and not even mention the fact that they're female. But that's just a sort of part of it, to embed it, to normalise the whole notion of it. So I know that lots of you are from industry, so I'd be interested in talking to anyone if you'd like to come and give a guest lecture at all. But those are the three aspects that I wanted to highlight as our efforts to normalise the notion of females in computing.
And making time up for us as well. Thank you very much. Now, in my defence, Peter, dude, you are an audio lecturer at the university, so I was almost there.
If the beanie fits.
Yeah. Very good. Peter, over to you.
So, Jackie's covered a lot of stuff I was going to talk about already, so no need for the 1 minute thing, which is good. My name is Peter Flett. I'm a lecturer in sound production at Forth Valley College. In addition to some of the stuff that Jackie was talking about in terms of choice of materials and making sure things are kind of meet certain criteria, essentially, we were in a position 5 years ago where we moved to a new campus in Stirling, and we saw that as an opportunity to form a bond with the local schools, the primary schools, high schools, and start to work with them to... Our course, to give you a bit of background to our course, is very, very much involved software and hardware, so things like digital audio workstations, hardware interfaces, all this kind of stuff, the usual IT that's involved. And as you already have identified, there's very much an image of it's a bunch of sweaty guys in a room, and no one really knows what goes on inside here, and we're like, right, we need to kind of dispel that myth a little bit. So one of the first things we did was we started getting primary 3, 4, 5 and 6 groups in, and bringing them into the studio and watching their little faces absolutely panic as it looks like the Starship Enterprise, they don't know what they're doing. Within 10, 15, 20 minutes of them actually just doing stuff, recording sounds, moving things around, using the equipment, you could see straight away that they were super, super confident in using the technology and being kind of comfortable in that environment. Taking that on, we also started working with higher and advanced higher students from local schools. First, we were just kind of giving them kind of technological help where they maybe weren't sure how their studios and stuff were set up. We actually turned that into having the students come into the college and use our facilities, which again, I think for a lot of the girls was very encouraging because it was an environment where they were very much, it was a 50-50 split, essentially. So on top of that, we also then started offering an NPA course where students can basically, during their 6th year at school, kind of use that as a stepping stone to come into college. And again, just getting them into the environment and seeing that it's not a male-dominated place, like it should be equal, and we should use as many girls in there as possible. I think that had a very positive impact in affecting the students that we get. In fact, over the past 5 years, as we've been doing that, the number of applicants and girls on courses has started to go up. It's not where it should be, but we're looking now at a kind of 25-75 split, where it used to be something like 90-10, something like that,
yeah.
Which is good. And lastly, another thing is just the idea of getting ambassadors. So former pupils or students who have graduated and then gone and done stuff and come back, we often find that's also quite good at kind of engaging current students and getting them to think about, okay, what happens after college? So yes, I applied for this course, but yes, there's no reason why you can't go to university and achieve further things on top of that. So it's more a case of we try and focus on engaging at a school level and getting as many girls in as possible and trying to dispel this myth of boys only.
Okay, thank. I mean, the audio part, the audio and technology part, as a former DJ who used to rug records around everywhere, I've got 3 children and 2 boys and a girl. My daughter takes to the laptop DJing way better than the boys do. Just the user interface is just so easy for her, and the boys sort of fumble around in it. But she's off, and she's a far better DJ than I ever was. So, moving on, Christina.
Hello, good morning everyone. I just also want to introduce myself. My name is Christina and I am the placement coordinator for the QA apprenticeships in the East of Scotland. Now, I found and help place 16 to 24-year-olds in modern apprenticeships such as IT systems and networking, software and web development, cybersecurity, digital marketing, to name a few. To give you kind of a little bit of history about ourselves, so our parent company is QA Learning, and they have been the UK's leading IT training providers for about 30 years now, maybe just over 30 years. Now, in that time, we have seen basically the gender gap become very prominent. Our classrooms were very male dominated. So when the time came and when the apprenticeship side for business was born 5 years ago, we basically decided that we needed to become one of the leaders of change. So in May 2015, QA Apprenticeships pledged to place 10,000 apprentices in the technical roles, and just over 12 months later, so I think it was June 2016, we achieved that target. Obviously more quicker than we got, which is fantastic, and 35% of those candidates were female, so it's something we're really proud about. But in the first instance, how did we attract those females? I'm basically famous for having a story for everything, so I have a bit of a story for this. It's a bit of a personal journey. So I love gaming, I love tech, I build my own PCs. I'm basically the biggest geek you'll ever meet, and very proud of it, by the way. So when I was 15 years old, I went to my careers advisor in school, and I was like, so yeah, games, I kind of like those. Can I do that? Is that a job? Is that something I can do? Now, my careers advisor at the time was the most loveliest lady you will ever meet. She was encouraging, she was engaging. I loved her to bits, and obviously she turned around and told me, no. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go into quite a lonely industry with all the boys and be sat at a computer all day by yourself. Why don't you do business? Now, there's obviously nothing wrong with business, but why don't you go into business and maybe one day you'll be lucky enough to find employment that you can work from home when you eventually have kids. So, obviously being that age and being quite impressionable, I heeded her advice. Well, sort of. I ended up with a degree in musical theatre and dance. But, and I did do my dissertation on the comparison between the video gamer and the performer, so take that, Mrs. Pearson. But it is always something it's stuck with me, and so when the opportunity at QA Apprenticeship presented itself, I literally threw myself at it. And 2 years now down the line, my personal experience and my work experience has taught me that one of the most important things to kind of generate female applications is the role model, the female role model with a relatable backstory. So backstories that don't necessarily have a wealth of kind of technical knowledge or experience, but things like, oh, so you play video games with your brother, that's cool, so that's a job you can go into, or that ASOS app, that's your favourite, well, see what you've learned in computing science, that's the fundamentals for you to make your own app one day. And you don't have a computer qualification, but you read forums and watch YouTube videos all day, well, that's a job. So every year I attend every candidate engagement event I can, whether it be careers events, your presentations, class talks, and not only for our 16 to 24-year-old demographic, but I go to the younger years, that subject selection, and below. I think it's vitally important we also expose females to tech as early as possible to obviously keep their interest in it when they do eventually get to high school. At every event, I take a female tech apprentice, because I think it's imperative that they hear about her relevant experience, her current experience. And it's basically just because it's better to hear it from the horse's mouth and not hers. She will be more influential than any of us will be, because a young female who's potentially looking to do this will look at someone like Dion and say, well, she's only a year younger than I am, so if she can do it, maybe I can too. So, which brings me very nicely to the lovely young lady on my left. This is Dion McCabe. Dion came to me about a year ago, 16-year-old, a little bit shy. Not bad, but a little bit shy. And she said that she wanted to look at doing business or a reception role. And what should have been a 30-minute pre-screening interview turned into an hour and a half chat on games, technology, and the roles that you can do. And bless your mum, she was sitting downstairs for the whole time. And I marched Dion downstairs, took her to her mum, and was like, I'm going to get you a job in tech. I'm going to get your daughter a job in tech. To which your mum laughed. Then you left. And now Dion is going on to do her SCQF level 8 in software and web development with RBS, and she's doing very well and very proud of her. Dion is one of the 100 apprentices I've personally placed for the last 2 years with QA apprenticeships. My stat at the moment is that is 39% female. We can always do more, absolutely. And from the things that I've been hearing today, there's certainly things that I'm going to take away from today already, and that's been the first, hour and a half. So yeah, thank you for having us, and thank you for letting us chat to you all today.
Perfect. Dion, oh, hang on, easy now. Dion, do you have anything you want to add in there? Because it's great to have you up here, but what would you like to contribute?
Well, Christina's covered most of it, but
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I didn't even know technology apprenticeships was a thing before I found out about it online. I just thought apprenticeships were plumbing, electrician, that sort of thing. So it's really good that it's becoming more popular and more the norm. So because then more people are able to find out about it, because I have 3 little sisters, and they could end up going into that role that they're interested in the future.
Fantastic.
To me when they're 60.
Good. So we'll get to the clapping bit in a second. Any questions from the floor? Lady at the front.
Maureen Taylor from Scotland Women in Technology. Dion, I just wanted to ask you, that's great that you're in apprenticeships. Have you got other friends who are envious and going to follow suit?
Yeah, I actually have 2 friends that have had interviews with Christina, and they wanted to get onto the apprenticeship program as well, because they also didn't know that technology could be a role for young people. They thought you had to go to uni and actually focus on that your whole life to even think about getting into it. So yeah, they are very, and they're definitely interested in it.
Anything else? Did I see a hand at the back? Or are you just rubbing an ear? Or so awareness is a big part of what's going on today. We have a room. Yeah, lady at the back, right in the middle. Be loud.
Yeah, I'm Jane Grant. I'm from Girl Geek Scotland and Edinburgh College. There's a lot of chat about role models, and so I think that's absolutely critical. I did want to say that Girl Geek Scotland is building up a huge platform of mentors across Scotland, from industry, from people trying to get into industry, and just in terms of a lot of the questions of the guys from JP Morgan and Katie, if you're wanting to get involved, excuse me, I have to learn too. If you're wanting to get involved, if you're wanting to get into schools, if you're wanting schools to come to your business, I would actively encourage everybody in this room to join the Girl Geek Scotland Mentoring Scheme. The bigger that is, the more joined up we are. the more these stories will start to have, impact. And thank you very much.
Absolutely, we'll get to you just in a second. That build there and awareness, using that we're starting to trend TDGGT. If you follow that hashtag TTGGT, nothing to do with Graham Gordon. If you follow that hashtag, we're starting to trend on Twitter just now, which is really where we need to be. Creating that sphere of influence that's in this room and within your businesses and within your organisations, and making this normal. We used the word normal earlier. Let's make it normal. We shouldn't have events like this to try and make things normal that should be normal, if that makes sense. But we wouldn't be here otherwise. Lady in the corner.
Hi, I just want to say that role models do actually exist at the moment for technology. Jackie mentioned the STEM Ambassador programme. It's not just for colleges, it's not just for schools. STEM Ambassador programme is universal. We are the base level. Code Club, every Code Club volunteer, Lorna will say, is a STEM Ambassador. We have STEM Ambassadors from JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Skyscanner, everywhere, every kind of industry you could possibly think of. Technology, not academia, anything, that all exists, and that all is available for teachers to tap into if they do so want. All you need to do is contact your local STEM Ambassador Hub, or come and have a chat to me afterwards, because I happen to manage one of the hubs. But yes, that's already there. I've actually been involved with the consultancy with Girl Geek Scotland as well, and about making them all STEM ambassadors to begin with. The base level exists there, it's just tapping into it for you.
Perfect, thank you. I'd like to ask you now to clap and thank Jackie, Alison, Peter, Christina and Dion. Thank you all for joining us.